Hey, Arrowheads! Welcome back to Queen Consolidated, a Southgate Media Group podcast dedicated to all things related to Arrow over on the CW. I am Lilith, and joining me for the first time is...
It's Faye, everyone. It's Phil. You may know me from the Central City podcast dudes, also part of the Legends of DC.
Yep, Kelly just couldn't take it anymore, and I'm only going to torture myself one more year. So now you have a new host, and of course, you probably guys have heard us on either World's Finest or Newcastle Crew. So this shouldn't be like a big shock. We're going to start part one of our summer series. We're going to be going over, for the first part of the series, of the best arcs of Green Arrow. Of course, y'all should know what's coming is Quiver. It's my favorite. One of my favorites. It's like in my top 3. What about you? Where does Quiver fall for you in Green Arrow story arcs?
It's one of my favorites, and it has a special place for me, Green Arrow-wise, because this is the very first issue I got, like, when it first came out. This is when I started collecting Green Arrow. Like, after I got this issue, I went back and started buying up all the old stuff. But this is where I started with Green Arrows. Green Arrow #1 by Kevin Smith.
Yep. This is like, what, 15 years ago?
2001.
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin Smith, man. I don't know. Like, I was like, I don't know, man. Really, Kevin Smith? And then, like, he totally, like, bowled me over, and I just couldn't believe it. And then also, Phil Hester's art with this storyline is just, like, everything for me. So.
Yeah, I kind of gave it a chance because, like, well, I think it was, like, 2 years before this, Kevin Smith did a Daredevil run for Marvel, which I enjoyed mostly, except they killed off Karen Page, but...
That should have been your favorite part, Phil.
Oh!
I'm kidding, of course.
Dare you?
Just TV show Karen.
Oh!
Sorry, and I love that girl, too. True blood forever, but anyway. So, yeah, we're going to start with, obviously, issue #1. There's, like, dude, there's so many people that, like, kind of come back and make first appearances, and then we have these flashbacks, and it's just a crazy story.
Well, it starts off with, as, like, basically every DC book does, with Batman and Superman.
Standing on a rooftop, no, in Metropolis.
In a flashback during Final Night.
That pretty much sums up everything you need to know about what we were going through at that time in comic books on the DC side.
Yeah, so the book's from 2001, but the beginning's a flashback to, the mid-90s, so Superman still has the mullet.
It's like the Earth's sun has been extinguished in case nobody remembers what Final Night was.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see, like, a Parallax standing over the grave of Oliver Queen. And it's just like, what are you going to do, Parallax? You're going to mess some stuff up. You're about to pull a Barry Allen on us, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
After he pulls some DNA off of Superman's suit. Yeah, okay. Never mind.
No, I know. Meanwhile, in the present, it's like a lot of the heroes who have been affected by Green Arrow are, like, continuing on everything. And we get that whole Connor Hawk, like, praying for his dad. And then we see Arsenal. He's, like, taking down a room full of heroin dealers. And Black Canary is, like, rescuing, like, the beat-up wife of a Russian mobster.
Mm-hmm.
And what else is happening? Oh, yeah, and in Star City, we meet the guy, Stanley Dover. He's walking down the street, and he, like, almost gets beat up by some thugs. And then, like, we see a homemade arrow with a bleach bottle. Oh, like, it was funny. It's, like, through the, like, beer bottle, the 40-ounce beer bottles. And I just get a flashback to, like, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where they're standing out in front of the store. Mm-hmm. For some reason, every time I see that, but yeah. And then, like, we turn around and we see who it is, and it's, like, Oliver Queen. He's back from the dead, but he looks like, okay, if you guys watch Arrow, he straight up looks like Ollie when we first opened up the show, and he's getting rescued.
Yeah, he's wearing rags, his feet are all wrapped up. You can tell he's homeless, but, and then that last page, he has, like, what is that, a beer can or a soda can on the end of an arrow?
Yep. I was just like, I would pay good money to see Arrow do this. I
No,
really
hey,
would.
they gave us the boxing glove era. Who knows?
Anything used to be able to happen, but yeah. So this is basically like this is the first time that Oliver Queen has been seen since his death in 101. Um, so it's just like really weird. We had all these like cameo flashbacks. Who did we have? We had Effigy, Flash. Of course, at that time that was Wally West,
Mm-hmm.
Hal Jordan, and then we also had Kyle Rayner. We had Leanne Harper. We had Dick, Shadow, Speedy, Wonder Girl, the Donna Troy version, and Wonder Woman, kind of in these little cameo flashback appearances. So it was kind of cool. It's like I love how we kind of had the Green Arrow fam, like everybody's doing their thing, and then wham, homeless, tattered up Ollie back from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
I really did enjoy that juxtaposition. It's like I'm glad that everybody was like going on about their business and kind of living on his legacy and everything. I thought that was
Mm-hmm. But I would just pay anything right now for a time machine to hear a young Lilith Hellfire screaming, "What is Connor Hawke doing in this book? This is supposed to be Oliver Queen's big return."
no, honestly, I like I was when Connor Hawk joined the Justice League is when he kind of turned a corner for me. That
Mm-hmm.
whole trying to make him live up to that, like I've never really appreciated. Connor Hawk has that weird situation that Damien has, where it's like, okay, but what were your circumstances of birth again, sir? And it changes on who you ask and things like that, and so I just, yeah. But, I mean, the Justice League Connor Hawk stuff is not that bad, honestly. It was when he was trying to take up the mantle all by himself. I was just like, you can't hold a candle to your dad, kid. Sorry.
like the Chuck Dixon stuff.
Yeah. Not a good time to be a Green Arrow fan, just saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say it didn't have that negative impact on me, but like I said, this was my first issue, so I went back and I kind of read all the Connor Hawk stuff at once, so maybe that's why it didn't seem as bad to me. Because then I have to wait from month to month.
Yeah, exactly.
Get
So, what were some of your favorite parts of this
um, I don't know. I mean, you could tell Kevin Smith's a fan, and he understands these characters, like the relationship between Batman and Superman, and I guess you could say between Hal and Oliver.
one?
um, but yeah, like you were saying, I like the flashback scenes as everyone's remembering stuff. But get that. I love when Black Canary's remembering the whole past, and it's just like the explosion. So it's like, yeah, you kind of needed a parallax to bring Oliver back because yeah, he was kind of trapped in an exploding plane.
Not too many other people besides Doctor Fate who could have saved him at that point. I don't know. I couldn't believe how good it was, and like I was a fan of Kevin Smith's before this. Like although I was way too young to be watching his stuff, but I was anyway. Like Chasing Amy and Dogma are my everything, so it's really great. And I was just like, I don't know, man, I don't know. And then he just kind of blew me away, and like we never really saw too much from him after that in the comic books world. You know what I mean? It's kind of a shame.
Yeah, I
He
don't
got
know if
chased
it's
out. I don't know if he ever talked about that on his podcast because there's
he
so many episodes to get through.
he got chased out.
Kind of, sort of.
I mean, I didn't know if it was just he got busy, movies, and then eventually he discovered podcasts. But it's just like he never seemed like he could keep like a monthly schedule.
Yeah, he does have a little bit ADHD too, that too. But I don't know, and I feel like we might be seeing, hopefully, for a mini arc somewhere doing something with a certain green hero in some
Well,
medium.
well, he keeps saying that they're working on him and Walt Flanagan are working on that third Batman miniseries, that comes after Cacophony.
Yeah,
But
don't
that,
hold
but
your breath, people.
yeah, I was gonna say it's been like 7 years.
Well, I mean, look what happened to you know, the Dark Knight. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
they did that again. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but this time around it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? They might actually do it eventually before they die. But yeah, I really just can't get over how good this is. I mean, from the first issue, and I love how Green Arrow Rebirth #1 kind of sort of borrows this whole motif of the cover. I really dug that. If you
Oh
didn't
yeah.
notice a little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun. What would you give this issue?
Um. I'd have to say it's probably a 4 for me.
It's about a 4.5 because, like I said, I was just like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this! It's so good!" And even Connor Hawk wasn't even annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I actually do like Parallax, um, which is probably surprising to those of you who listen to World's Finest. You guys know I have like a whole thing about Hal Jordan, but I thought that whole Parallax thing was pretty interesting. The most interesting thing they ever did for him. So
They had to bring him back, huh?
I mean, all comic book heroes die, but not all of them come back. But if you're one of the big seven, yeah, you're gonna come back eventually. So
Although they took their good old time with Barry Allen.
I was gonna say, unless you're Barry Allen, where they kept debating, do we really want to do? We're doing it. Jeff Johns like, we're doing it. Oh man, it's not a good. I don't care. We're doing it now.
But he's a
Imagine
martyr.
if we didn't have Jeff Johns. Like, oh my god.
Oh.
Oh, he's the champion of the fanboys and girls all over the world. Oh, so yeah, I gave this about a 4.5, like I said, and I just really enjoyed it. And if you guys ever read this, or maybe you guys want to read it real quick, you can feel free to leave us how you feel either on Twitter, QC_SMG pod. You can write to us, queen.consolidated@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Queen Consolidated. So yeah, let us know your thoughts. Phil, would you like to do some shameless plugs?
Sure. Everyone should be familiar with all my stuff, but if you want to discuss anything Flash, Arrow, anything DC, basically anything Marvel, yeah. You could email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I'm at Nightwing. On Twitter, I'm at NightwingPDP. Basically, all social media. You can just look up Nightwing PDP. You'll find me.
Before we get to my social media stuff, I want to remind you guys to please check out SouthgateMediaGroup.com for our list of like 90 plus and always growing podcasts. You can also find blogs, several of which Phil writes.
Just 2.
And you can also donate to help keep this podcast network alive there as well. Please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Lisbon.com. And we are also in Google Music under the podcasting stuff. So if you are an Android user, please feel free to do that. As for me, you can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. If you are still on Tumblr, it's lilithhellfire.tumblr.com. And of course, my website, lilithhellfire.com.
And I just want to, I should say, make sure to check out the other podcasts on this feed. Krypton Report, the Central City Podcast Dudes, and the upcoming podcast of tomorrow, especially when the TV shows return.
Yep. Oh, which I want to remind you guys, podcast of tomorrow, if you guys don't know, that's Charlie Usser, who sometimes does the Marvelous Report for World's Finest, and he also does some stuff on the other side for, Marvel.
Oh, you mean Nuff Said, Rob's podcast?
No, I'm not being petty at all. His co-host is Zach, so I cannot wait to hear those two.
I know.
I honestly can't. It's going to be really exciting. So yeah, definitely be on the lookout for that. We'll be back next week with part 2 of Quiver. So get caught up and be sure to send us what you think. And it is gonna be a long 5 months on a hellish island, or maybe not so hellish until we return for the first episode of season 5 of Arrow. So we're gonna keep you entertained. And until then,
Queen Consolidated signing off.